Good morning all, welcome back to Sew Granny Sew. You'll have to excuse the robe once again. We are at -18, feels like -36 with wind chill factor, so it's a bit cold today. So we're gonna work on finishing up our baby girl quilt. I'll link in the description below on some of the blocks that we done for that. They're just all different pastels and bright colors, just fun blocks for a little girl. We are going to make a baby quilt size. So for our trim in between our sashings, I picked out purple and teal because that pulls out some of the colors we have in our squares. So we're going to need a total of 9 1.5 by 9 inch. Our squares are 9-inch squares. And then we will also need a total of 6 1.5 by width of fabric. We are going to need 8 in the end, but I think we're going to have leftovers of this, so I only cut 6 for the time being. We may have to cut a couple more. The outside border, we're going to make a 2.5-inch wide, and I have that in the till. We will for sure need 4. I did cut a couple extras just in case. These are 2.5 by width of fabric. Let's go ahead and set this stuff aside and get started. When we put these together, we are going to put them like this. So just one strip between each set of blocks. We don't want to do the top and the bottom. We'll get those with the bigger strips. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with this first one. All we're going to do is put right sides together, pin them in place. Bring them to the machine and sew a 1/4-inch seam. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll need 3 of these per row because we won't put them on the bottom of the 4th block. So I'm going to go ahead and get this row put together like this. So I'm going to keep these all together. I'm just going to throw a quick pin through the center of them. And we will repeat the same thing for the next 2 rows. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all set up, and then I will bring you back here. Okay, we have all of our rows with our sashing pinned on. So all we're going to do now is we're going to take it and run it through the sewing machine with a 1/4-inch seam on each of those. I'm just going to chain stitch mine, so I'll just stitch them all the way through all my piles. So I'll go ahead and get this done, and I'll meet you back here. So we have our sashing sewed on, so we just got to iron them open. And we're just going to iron it towards the sashing. Okay. Once we have that ironed, we're going to line up. This is our 3rd and 4th. This is our 1st and 2nd. So once we get them ironed up, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to flip that one over and pin those into place. And we will do the same with these ones. And we will take them over to the sewing machine, and we'll take a 1/4-inch seam along both of those. We'll iron those open, and then we will connect the 2 together in the same fashion. So I'll get that done, and I'll meet you back here. You can see we have all 3 of our columns put together. So now we're going to go ahead and connect them. So we're just going to take one of our width of fabric 1.5-inch strips, and we are just going to sew that there and there. When we're done, we'll iron those open, and then we'll connect these together just like we connected the blocks. So I'll get all this connected in, and I'll bring you back, and we'll start on those borders. So I wanted to bring you back because I did get these 2 connected, and I got them ironed, but I wanted to show you. So when we get done to this point, we're going to want to cut these off. So that was one thing I wanted to show you. So we're just going to line that ruler up with both sides and cut them off. And then at this end as well, we have the same thing, but we just need to cut that little bit off at the end. Okay, and the next thing I wanted to show you was when we are lining these up. Make sure I got this going the right way here. Okay, so we flip it over on top of that one like that. So we're going to line up these stripes here as we're going to make sure that they line up after we sew them. Grab our pins here. So I just like to line it up with this. Line up this edge here, then fold it back and make sure your lines are lined up inside there past that sashing, and then go ahead and throw a quick pin in there and bring it out to the end. Make sure that's lined up. And then throw one in the middle. And then we'll just keep working our way down until we get them all pinned on. And then, of course, the 1/4 inch seam along that. And then we will iron that back open. And I am still ironing everything towards the sashing. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Once I get that ironed up, and the inside of it will be done, and we'll go to the borders. We have the two sides attached. We now need to cut our extras off. So once again, we're just going to line up those rulers to the end of the blanket. And we're just going to cut those down. And we're going to do that on all 4 corners. Okay, and we're going to grab the other 2 strips. And we are going to put them at the top and the bottom in the same way we put these 2 on. So once again, we're just going to line that up. Pin it into place. And I usually just do the first couple pinning into place to hold it there. Then we'll bring it to the sewing machine and sew all the way down that side with a 1/4 inch as well as the other end. So I will get that done, get them ironed open, and I will meet you back here. We have the last 2 borders on, so we're going to go ahead and trim these up. And once again, we'll do that on all 4 corners. So we have all of the purple borders done. I think that's adorable. It turned out cute. However, we are only measuring, let's see, about 30.5 inches across. And we do need that a little bit bigger. I think the length would be fine for a baby blanket, but let's go ahead and put on that blue border. So we're just gonna do the same thing we did with the purple on the outside edges. We're gonna do that with the blue as well. We'll start with the long sides once again. We may have to add a second side. I want to check that. Nope, I think we're good here. So the width of fabric does still fit on the long end. So we'll start with that because that's the longest piece. So we'll go ahead and get the 2 sides done, then the 2 ends. I'll get it ironed open and I will bring you back here. We have our quilt sandwiched in with the batting and the backing. As you can see in this picture here, we are going to be using a purple swirl or marble fabric for the back. It is a lightweight flannel. And then we will be doing the stitching with that purple thread. The binding will be in the turquoise. You can see in this next picture the two different stitches we'll be using. The binds will go around all of the purple, and the hearts will go frame around the outside blue. So we'll go ahead and get to the sewing room and get that started. So I have the walking foot back on for quilting. I have it threaded with a purple thread, both on top and the bottom. And I have it set to do the binds. I'm just going to start right on this side of the line, but only on the purple stripes. So we'll go ahead and get that started. And I'm just keeping my presser foot as centered as I can on that stripe. Oh, out of bobbin thread. So I'll go ahead and I'll get this, I'll let you take a look at that there. So it's just a simple bind pattern. It looks really nice there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the machinery threaded. I'll get down to the end, get this other stripe here done. And then we'll start doing the ones across and I'll bring you back for that. Okay, we got the two stripes going up and down in the middle. So now we're going to start with their length or widthwise. So with these, we're going to go ahead and cross over that middle stripe. So I will show you that when we get there. Okay, we are coming up on this center strip now. So we're just going to go ahead and keep going straight forward right over the top of that. Okay, so now I'll give you a little look at that. So right at that cross section, it don't look bad. It just looks like there's extra leaves on that vine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish up the cross sections, and then I'm going to bring it back so we can do the purple border, and then after that we'll do the blue border. So while I was taking a break, I thought about the fact that if I put that purple on the purple stitching on this blue on there with the hearts, then I'm going to have to put more purple stitching on it when I put the binding on it. So I'm going to hold off with that. We're going to go ahead and do this border in here. And then we're going to trim off the batting and see how much purple I got left. If I have enough, I'll just do the binding of the purple, and that will look good as well. That way the stitching won't show up on there, so it won't look so funny. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this. So we're just going to go all the way around on this one. I just went right to the middle of this one. I did want to stop during the vine and not a leaf, so. Okay, so that is what our corners look like. So I'm going to go ahead and I will finish getting around this border, and then I will meet you back at the table and we will cut the batting down. I have that purple border done now. I'll turn this a little bit. You can see that a little bit better. It actually really added the cute touch to a little girl's quilt. So the problem with this is you can see I have very little purple left. So I'm wondering if we couldn't cut the batting down, cut the backing down, and actually utilize the blue to go to the back to make a binding. But then that would shorten our quilt. So we might just go ahead and make up a binding. I do have plenty of blue. But we're going to go ahead and get the batting cut down, and we will go from there. We'll see how that looks. Okay, so this is my smallest spot right here. and that's not going to be enough to make a binding. So we are going to have to cut this down, this backing. So I'm going to go ahead and get that cut out just like I cut the batting off. But then I got to thinking, I think we'll give it a purple binding instead of the blue, because then when we sew on it, it'll show up the same as this, and it will also make that blue strip narrower. So I think that's what we're going to do for the binding. So I'm going to go ahead and get this trimmed up. I'm going to cut some strips, 4 strips by width of fabric, 1.5 inch wide, for the binding. And then I'll meet you back here. I have my binding done and ready to go. So all I did is I cut up 1.5 inch strips by width of fabric. I knew I was going to be a little bit shy because the one end fits just perfectly on it, the left and right sides. So I did add a little piece at the end. So I just cut the selvage off and sewed it straight, and then just ironed them all one way. So once we get some pins out of here, then we're going to flip this over to the back. Make sure we got the rest of these pins out. First, so we're going to lay that down. Make sure we have our, let's see, you want the right side, so you want the seam facing up, right side facing towards the back. Then I'm just going to bend that over, put a little fold there, and then you're just going to line that up all the way along. And I'll briefly go over this corner with you. I will link below the last video we did with the mitered corner shown in that video, so you can see that in more detail if you'd like. But for the sake of those who've already watched that, I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail on this one. So you're going to take a 1/4 inch seam all the way along. You do want to leave the first couple of inches of this free, so you do not stitch. Start stitching a couple of inches down. Then you're just going to go 1/4 inch all the way down. Then when you get to the corner, you are going to sew up to a 1/4 inch. So you can take a pin or a ruler. If you want to mark it out, I'm just going to guesstimate mine to a 1/4 inch. And I know to stop sewing right there. Once we have that done, pull that out a little bit. We're just going to fold that back so it runs parallel to this. And then fold it back this way. And then you're going to, when you get down to that 1/4 inch, you're going to back stitch. Then you're going to pull it off. You're going to fold it like this. You're going to back stitch when you start and continue on sewing that 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one on, the binding on this. And then I'll bring you back to show you how to do the front. I have the back of it all connected. I did go ahead and iron it away from the backing. So now we're going to just fold our fabric into the center there, and then fold it over again and put a clip in that. And that first one I just did was a straight stitch, as you can see. So that one didn't have the decorative stitch on it. I'll go ahead and do a little bit on this side. So on the corner, you're just going to fold that in like you did on the sides. You know, put one down, and then pull it back in, and it gives you a nice mitered corner. So we're going to go ahead and fold this all the way around the quilt, and then bring it to the sewing machine. And I'm going to try to do that decorative stitch like we used on the rest of it on that edge there. I'm not sure if it's going to fit yet. I'm going to make sure that out and find out. But I will get that done, and I'll meet you back here with the finished product. Okay, you guys, we got it finished. I'm going to give you a close up here. So I tried that heart one on the outside border. I did go with the purple, but as you can see, it's really hard to regulate that stitch. I need to practice with that more. This one here turned out really nice. I do like that. The feel that it gives to the quilt itself. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this one. This one ended up measuring 35 by 45, so it is a fairly nice size quilt. I'll go ahead and back up so you can get a better look at it. So plenty big enough for a crib quilt, even a toddler, not a small baby one anymore. Well, as always, guys, if you found this video useful, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we'd love to have you here at Sew Granny Sew. Thanks all. Have a good day. Bye.